What's up, humans, and welcome to another Psicoactivo on a Thursday. Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Okay, so something that a lot of y'alls had been expecting finally dropped today. And I'm talking about Jesse Michael's interview with Dr. Stephen Greer. They spoke for a whopping 3 hours and 40 minutes. And I'm only halfway through, but we already have a couple of nuggets. I'm gonna just ask you that if you wanted to check it out, you can check it in the link in the description. I'm gonna leave it there for everybody who wants to hear Dr. Greer talking to Jesse. Jesse teased the interview previously this week, saying that things got a little spicy, and they did. Um, Dr. Greer, there was a moment where he felt like Jesse was interrupting him a little bit too much, a couple of moments, and he kind of snapped a little at him. But the vast majority of the interview was really respectful, and it was cool. I mean, Jesse kept his cool despite Dr. Greer saying, for example, that Commander Fravor is not entirely correct in what he's reporting. You guys know that Commander Fravor is the person, the pilot that intercepted or attempted to intercept the Tic Tac in 2004 on the USS Nimitz, or he was in that carrier. And Dr. Greer, as you guys know, claims that the Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin's, not NHI. So there's always this major discrepancy there. But I think that if you are going to interview Dr. Greer, you got to talk about everything. And if you want him to really talk about what he claims to know, you can't really be mean to him or like snap at him or anything, if you decide to interview him, because I don't know if I would, honestly. There comes a time when I really feel like it just puts me off sometimes when I hear a lot of what he talks about, because to me, and this is just my personal feeling, and I'm sorry if anybody feels offended by this, when you are talking about these topics and you're like trying to investigate what's going on, one of the biggest red flags that I see is when you ask someone something, especially if they're considered bigwigs or like one of the veterans in the field, and they tell you, yeah, I know exactly what's going on, or yeah, 100% that's going on, or yeah, 100% we have time travel, for example. Where does that security to say something is absolutely true come from? And I keep seeing him saying, yeah, I have the evidence, I have the documents, I have this, I have that. Out of pretty much everything that I've seen from him, nothing is really like a smoking gun type of evidence. And that's the way he has been portraying this for the longest time. So I'm sorry if I'm skeptical about what Dr. Greer sometimes presents, but there are things that have been a little more true in recent times about what he's stated before. He was in contact with Jake Barber. Jake Barber acknowledged him. The whole Michael Herrera story is very interesting. There's a lot of division in that too, due to the setting and all the way he came out and everything. Now, in documents, for example, the Immaculate Constellation documents, the term ARV is mentioned there. And I know that this isn't a Greer term, but it was popularized by him and his entire circle. So a lot of people give him credit for it, although it's not. But yeah. So there's a lot of things that seem to be true of what he says. The problem is what is and what isn't, though. And he says a lot of things. So I want to play you guys a little clip. And also, I will play you guys something from that same interview, but a little snippet that Jesse Michaels dropped about his upcoming interview with Dr. Harald Malmgren, which is something that we are all expecting. And check out Dr. Greer's reaction when he says it. But first, I will play you the one clip that Jesse Michaels himself promoted on his Twitter page.
Jack Kennedy, the president, was killed over this. You think he was killed over UFOs specifically?
Oh, yes.
So the data points that I have around that, there's a letter dated November 12th, 1963, 10 days before he died, to John McCone. John McCone is the acting CIA director because he had just fired Dulles.
Right.
And McCone also was the former head of the Atomic Energy Commission. So he would probably know a thing or two about the UFO issue.
Oh, he would have. Yeah.
And JFK is saying to John McCone, we need to coordinate better with the Soviets on this issue of quote unquote unknowns in Soviet airspace, so they don't mistake these unknowns
as ours,
as acts of American aggression. Exactly.
It could trigger World War III.
So do you think that letter is real?
I don't know the provenance of it. I think it likely is. It comports with the facts.
Okay, so this topic that they touched on right here is one that was became a little more viral recently when the JFK files were dropped, and it's there's no way to prove that that document is real. I've already stated this a couple of times. I spoke to Ryan Wood about it. I spoke to Geoff Cruikshank about it. They feel it may be real, but there's no way to prove it. And Dr. Greer responded similarly when he was asked about this by Jesse. So that was interesting. And then shout out to my buddy Neanderthal because he clipped this one. And I'm going to play it for you guys. And I'll see you guys in the other side because we've been expecting for this.
Harald Malmgren. And he's a presidential advisor for JFK, LBJ, Nixon, and Ford. And he has come out, he's been tweeting a bunch about things that he learned in that capacity and getting briefed by Richard Bissell, who is the deputy director of the CIA, who basically founded Area 51 on quote unquote other world technologies.
Yes.
He said that a contact of his, a high level intel contact of his from abroad, talked to him about classified work that Tesla and Townsend Brown did on submarines together.
Yes.
You have uncovered collaboration between Nikola Tesla and Thomas Townsend Brown.
Yeah, but I said to you informally, I did not get that from any U.S. source.
What source did you get it from?
Foreign intelligence.
Do you think it is a good source? Do you think it's real?
No reason. Why would somebody tell me that?
That was nice to see Pippa there. I know that that was a very difficult moment for her because you can tell how frail Dr. Malmgren was. Dr. Malmgren did say that about Thomas Townsend Brown and Nikola Tesla, that they worked together in secret. And there's a lot of lore surrounding both of them. We know that in Tesla's history, I covered this a little bit in one of the episodes of Baron Trump and those obscure novels from Ingersoll Lockwood. Link in the description. Tesla was always rumored to have some really advanced technology that he created, right? There's a bunch of different versions that it's time travel technology, that it's free energy technology. He never said the term 0 point energy, but essentially the principles that he always talked about are that 0 point energy stuff came much, much later from different scientists. And then Thomas Townsend Brown is a very interesting character that Jesse himself has been covering for a while, and he's the one in that rabbit hole deep. And he is also rumored to have cracked something to do with time travel technology. There's honestly, there's no way of knowing. There's a lot of smoke, no fire. There's also the rabbit hole that when Tesla died, President Trump's uncle was the first person on his laboratory right after it happened. Whatever he saw, whatever he maybe took for himself, we don't know. But that happened. He was the first one. So there's another rabbit hole for you to go dig into. Generally, the reason that I want for this interview with Harald Malmgren to release is because of the character and the significance of his role in American policy during one of the most challenging times in history, which is the Cold War. He had the highest level of knowledge and clearance. So I want to know what's going to be talked about there. I'm pretty sure that they're probably going to reveal something massive. But this was just a little snippet of what that interview looks like. It happened during this interview with Dr. Stephen Greer. When he was informed by Jesse about Dr. Malmgren, it was pretty evident that he didn't know who that was. So that's interesting. And that's another data point that I think we should consider when we get into Dr. Malmgren's interview with Jesse, because not a lot of people knew about him. And he wasn't really involved in the UFO community at all until he started tweeting. So that's interesting. And he is who he says he is. So it's going to get really, really interesting, folks. And we're here for the ride, right? But yeah, I would recommend you guys go check that interview out. I know there's a lot of people that are already complaining about Dr. Greer. There's a lot of people that have been criticizing Jesse due to different factors. I guess that comes with territory. But in general, I applaud Jesse for talking to anybody. He was the one who brought us a debate between a debunker and a pro-UFO person. The Marek von Rennenkampf debate against Mr. Mick West, which was really interesting. And those types of interactions, I think, are good for the community if you do it respectfully. I think Jesse and Dr. Greer behaved properly here. And it was a really fluid conversation, despite some of the tropes that people don't like, you know? And I can see that. But I think this was an important one. I know there's a lot of people that are going to love that this happened. And, well, I can't wait to hear you guys in the comments. What do you think about this interview? And what do you think about the little snippet that Jesse released about the Malmgren interview? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, that's it for me today on this video. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can get notified when new videos drop. If you want to support the channel in any other way, there's a bunch of links in the description. Thank you for the support. You can also become a member. You can also support us on KGRA. Thank you, as always. Remember to stay curious. Remember to stay inquisitive. Ciao.